Disney CEO Bob Iger claims that the company isn't pushing a woke agenda, but is he lying to cover up the truth? From gender-swapped characters to massive layoffs, Disney's internal turmoil is only getting worse. Why are fans abandoning Disney, and what's the real cost of Iger's global audience strategy? Stick around to find out how Bob Iger's latest statements are only making things worse and why the backlash is bigger than ever. This is about more than just character changes, it's a battle for Disney's future. As Disney's problems continue to escalate under CEO Bob Iger's leadership, the issues are not limited to just him. They stretch across the Disney board of directors and high-ranking figures in divisions like Marvel Studios and Lucasfilm, including Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige. These key figures are all tangled in this ongoing drama. One of the driving forces behind the chaos is Iger's significant cost-cutting measures. These cuts have led to widespread layoffs across various divisions, impacting thousands of employees. It's a bleak picture for Disney with little hope for recovery in the near future. However, Bob Iger shows no sign of admitting failure. He often refuses to acknowledge any concern over the company's short-term or long-term future, and this denial of failure becomes even more apparent when we look at the company's agenda, which has been repeatedly exposed. One of the biggest sources of friction is Disney's handling of its DEI agenda. This includes their support for ESG funding from companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, as well as the controversial practice of gender swapping and race swapping established characters. These shifts have sparked massive backlash from both current and former customers, with many opting to cancel their Disney subscriptions. Despite the backlash, the situation continues to worsen. Bob Iger has addressed the ongoing criticisms, particularly those about the race and gender swaps of beloved characters. He states that he believes it's his responsibility to guide Disney toward appealing to a broader, more global audience. Iger insists that these changes aren't part of any agenda, but rather efforts to make Disney's characters more inclusive to different ethnicities and communities worldwide. However, this statement has done little to calm the mounting criticism. Disney's approach continues to alienate longtime fans and subscribers. In response to mounting pushback, Bob Iger addressed accusations that Disney is engaging in agenda-driven strategies, especially when it comes to their portrayal of established characters. Critics have claimed that Disney is involved in culture wars, particularly with its decision to change the gender and ethnicity of iconic characters. Iger firmly rejected this notion, calling it completely false and part of a misinformed narrative. He stressed that Disney's decision to alter characters like Snow White, Tinkerbell, and Ariel from The Little Mermaid wasn't a move driven by an agenda. Instead, it was a reflection of the company's commitment to inclusivity. According to Iger, these changes are not meant to provoke controversy, but to make Disney's characters more relatable to a wider range of people across different genders, ethnicities, and cultures. Disney's goal, as he explained, is to reflect the diversity of its global audience, ensuring characters resonate with people from all walks of life. Iger pointed out that such shifts shouldn't be interpreted as part of any political or social agenda, but rather as efforts to make Disney's iconic characters more accessible to different groups and communities around the world. He emphasized that the company's approach is rooted in a desire to support various communities, those of different genders, ethnic backgrounds, and cultures. According to Iger, Disney's decision to diversify its characters this way is an organic effort to cater to a broader audience, not a calculated attempt to push a specific agenda. Iger also took issue with the frequent use of the term agenda, suggesting that many people misunderstand its meaning. He argued that critics are too quick to label Disney's inclusivity efforts as such. Iger urged critics to take the time to understand the importance of DEI before making assumptions about the company's intentions. He framed the changes to beloved characters like The Little Mermaid and Snow White as an opportunity to reach new customers and build a fan base that aligns with Disney's vision of a more inclusive future. In Iger's eyes, these efforts are part of an ongoing plan to improve Disney's offerings and ensure the company remains relevant and appealing to a global, diverse audience. Bob Iger also made it clear that Disney's strategy of diversifying established characters would extend into their Marvel projects as well. He mentioned that Kevin Feige is eager about the opportunities for familiar Marvel characters to become more representative of different ethnicities and backgrounds. Iger emphasized that this approach would not be seen as part of a culture war and reassured the public that Disney wasn't trying to alienate its core audience. In his view, these efforts are about inclusivity and connecting with a wider range of people without compromising Disney's values or customer base. However, this message seems to contradict itself. Many believe Iger's words reveal more than he intends. While claiming there's no agenda, he's essentially admitting to the very actions critics have accused Disney of promoting an agenda. This contradictory stance has led to increasing skepticism about Iger's true intentions. Disney's continued support of race and gender-swapped characters has raised alarms for many, especially given how vocal their detractors have been, including major cultural criticisms like South Park's Panaverse special. It mocked Disney's handling of these changes, highlighting the absurdity of their diversity efforts in a way that resonated with viewers who felt Disney was pushing a narrative rather than focusing on quality storytelling. The backlash from this mockery served as a wake-up call for many. It's become clear that Disney's leadership, despite their denials, is committed to continuing their agenda of altering beloved characters to meet a broader definition of diversity. Iger's attempts to downplay the agenda, suggesting Disney is merely responding to societal needs, seem more like damage control than a genuine attempt to ease concerns. Critics argue that this ongoing push to alter iconic characters for the sake of inclusivity shows Disney's unwillingness to back down from its goals, even if it risks alienating its loyal audience in the process. At the heart of the issue, many believe that Iger's public statements are just another way to calm investors and the public while planning for the long term. It's clear that Disney is hoping to avoid more negative fallout in the years ahead. Bob Iger's recent announcement about investing in new hires with a stronger focus on DEI reflects Disney's continued strategy of altering well-known characters to make them more inclusive. The goal, according to Iger, is to produce better films and TV shows by reimagining iconic characters with diverse traits. However, the choice of language here is important. Iger repeatedly uses the term iterations, which, as many critics point out, is just a euphemism for gender and race-swapping characters that have long been beloved by audiences. This approach risks alienating fans who grew up with these characters and are attached to their original portrayals. The backlash from previous live-action remakes like Snow White, The Little Mermaid, and Tinker Bell is already evident. Many fans feel frustrated by Disney's commitment to altering classic characters. There are also upcoming remakes in the works, such as Sword in the Stone and Pirates of the Caribbean, which continue to stir up the same concerns. With each of these projects, Disney is seeing an increasing number of people leave Disney, an unfortunate trend that's worsened over the past several months. This ongoing shift in strategy, where Disney's focus seems to be on political correctness rather than storytelling, has contributed to the declining interest in content from both Marvel and Star Wars. The recent Marvel shows, in particular, have not done well. Many viewers feel that the changes in direction are more about ticking boxes for diversity than telling compelling stories. Despite all of this, Bob Iger refuses to acknowledge the damage this approach is causing to Disney's reputation and profitability. Even though a leaked meeting from about a year ago made it clear that Disney executives intended to prioritize inclusivity over storytelling, Iger continues to deny that these are intentional shifts in the company's direction. Instead of admitting that Disney is altering its focus, Iger insists that these changes are simply part of a long-term strategy for a global audience, even as the results show otherwise. The result of all this? A deepening frustration among fans and customers who feel Disney is losing sight of the very qualities that made its brand successful in the first place. As the debate over Disney's direction continues, it's clear that many fans are growing weary of the changes and are choosing to disengage, both from the films and from the streaming service that once captivated millions.